which made sense. Oh, hi, hello, and welcome to The Jib. This bi-weekly podcast is about the many and varied schemes of the many and varied U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies, organizations, and committees, and how they are stupid and funny. Join us on our merry journey through space and time. I'm Barry. You might recognize me as that weird industrial buzzing sound in the background of all David Lynch movies.
It all makes sense now. Hi, I'm Seamus. You may know me from the film Ishtar 2, The Revenge.
Ishtar 2, the sequel.
Yes.
Today we are talking about Leonard Peltier, if that's how you pronounce
are.
his name. Is that correct?
I think that's what we're going to go with anyway, so apologies
This is
ahead of time. Yeah,
very
apologies
much
ahead
like,
of time for anybody that I mispronounced because there's a lot of names here.
I have to say, as well as the Fred Hampton thing, I have been looking forward to this episode myself. I don't know if any of our listeners or viewers feel the same, but we will find out.
Cool. Alrighty, folks. So our story begins September 12th, 1944. Leonard Peltier is born in Grand Forks, North Dakota. He grew up on Turtle Mountain Indian Reservation in Belcourt, North Dakota, which is home to the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians. Peltier was one of 13 children. Peltier had a that's a lot of kids. It's a lot of fucking going on. Peltier had a difficult childhood.
In lower income groups, generally tend to have more children.
Well, that's what they say. But,
they do.
I mean, also though, it wasn't until recently that you had, smaller families, right? I mean,
that women had the option. You mean?
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah,
because my father was the first of our family to have a small, come out of a small group. Because his dad came out of 14 or 15 kids, and then his dad's dad was out of others. Just Irish. So
yes, then.
Well, okay. Anywho, Peltier had a difficult childhood. His parents separated when he was young, and he was sent to live with his grandparents on the reservation. He was exposed to poverty, discrimination. He struggled with dyslexia, which made it difficult for him to read and write. At the age of 9, Leonard was enrolled in the Wahpeton Indian School in Wahpeton, North Dakota. Again, apologies, I'm probably butchering that. An Indian boarding school run by the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs is what?
BIA, basically kind of like the FBI's own kind of a version, or
is it a federal organization attached to the U.S. government?
Yep.
Okay.
That deals with
reservations.
Yep.
So they have does the BIA then have jurisdiction over reservations when laws?
Okay. Despite these challenges, Peltier developed a love for art and became an accomplished painter. This is him in that school.
Oh, look at him!
Yeah,
John Cena.
Right.
Doesn't he look a bit like that?
Yep.
Yes, that question will be answered this Sunday at the WWE Super Slam.
Yeah, he unfortunately though, he was at one of these schools that did a lot of whitewashing, right? So they tried to conform.
They tried to make him less Indian-y and more white person-y. Oh, okay.
So you can kind of see that from that picture.
Because he doesn't have the long hair, you mean?
Yeah, he's got the kind of 50s haircut.
He does. He has that white guy look, yeah.
But anyways, he did well. He obtained a GED, and at 65, he relocated to Seattle, Washington. Peltier worked as a welder and a construction worker, and as a co-owner, in Seattle in his 20s. The co-owner used the upper level of the building as a halfway house for American Indians who suffered from alcohol addiction. Also, people kind of served as a halfway house. But unfortunately, because of financial issues, they had to close it. Leonard soon became involved in political activism and joined the American Indian Movement, also known as the AIM. The AIM is involved in Native American civil rights organization that was founded in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1968. The AIM was created to address social, economic, and political injustices that the Native American people faced in the United States. AIM's mission is to promote the sovereignty and self-determination self-determination.
Self-discrimination. It's ironic.
Yeah. Self-determination of Native Americans. Yeah. Communities to preserve and protect their culture, heritage. The organization has been involved in a wide range of activities, including activism for land rights, treaty rights, and environmental protection, as well as political activism and community organization. AIM, I'm going to get that backwards. They're not a record company. Gained national attention in the early 70s when it led several high-profile protests and occupations, including occupation of the Bureau of Indian Affairs headquarters in Washington, D.C. in 1972, in which Leonard took a part of. There was also the 71-day occupation. There's their logo, by the way. The 71-day occupation of Wounded Knee, which we'll touch briefly on here, possibly in a future episode of its own. These events brought attention to the mistreatment of Native Americans by the U.S. government and helped raise awareness of the the Native American issues.
Are we? Do you think we could get an episode of the Wounded Knee, couldn't we? Is that a plan?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there. Possibly.
Cool.
Definitely some FBI shenanigans. So
Shenanigans.
Peltier's involvement with this organization led to him becoming a leader. Peltier's early life experiences shaped his political beliefs and activism. He became a prominent figure in Native American rights movements. In the early 70s, Leonard became aware of the factional tensions at the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, which is in South Dakota.
Entering Pine Ridge Indian Reservation.
Yep. This is in South Dakota. There was issues between supporters of Richard Wilson, an elected tribal chairman, 1972. Also known as Dick. That's him there in the middle.
There he is.
Yeah, definitely has that kind of 50s vibe about him.
He does.
So
he has that 50s like cop vibe.
Yes, he does. So there's issues between him and the traditional members of the Lakota tribe. Dick Wilson was considered an autocratic tribal president, led a vicious crackdown on reservation dissents, who sought to overturn a corrupt tribal council system that catered to outside economic interests. This Borg-type assimilation policies of the BIA, AIM allied itself with the traditionalists who defended the Lakota spirituality, sovereignty, and treaty rights.
Do we have to explain the Borg reference, or are we good?
I think most people have seen Star Trek, right? Okay. Or at least kind of know, right? I mean,
sure.
What was Picard's Borg name?
Locutus.
That's
Locutus of Borg. Is that Dick Wilson is playing the part of Locutus in this?
That's it. Yeah, it's a good trivia question. The Wounded Knee occupation of 73 marked the beginning of a 3-year period of political violence on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Wilson, the chairman, hired guns vigilantes, which were self-titled as goons. That's always a good sign.
That's when you're calling themselves goons. That's not a good sign. No.
Yeah. The reservation of AIM activists in settlement. More than 60 traditional tribal members and AI members were murdered during this time.
Wait. Murdered by these goon squad?
Yep.
By this guy Wilson's men?
Yep.
60?
That's the claim.
Okay.
Scores more were assaulted. Evidence indicated that the goons' responsibility in the majority of these crimes, despite a large FBI presence. Nothing was done to stop the violence.
Okay.
It was also later determined that the FBI, in fact, supplied the goons with intelligence on AIM. I'm going to get this backwards all the time.
Yeah.
Members, and looked away as goons committed crimes.
Okay, this is starting to sound a little bit like the Fred Hampton episode we did.
Right?
Yeah.
One former goon member reported that the FBI actually supplied him with armor-piercing ammunition.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Leonard, by now, was an AIM member and was asked by traditional people at Pine Ridge to support and protect the traditional people being targeted for violence. Leonard and a small group of young AIM them members set up camp on the ranch owned by a traditional Jumping Bull family. On June 26, 1975, two FBI agents in an unmarked car followed a pickup truck onto Jumping Bull Ranch. The family immediately became alarmed and feared an attack. Shots were heard and a shootout erupted. Before it was over, more than 150 agents, goons, and other law enforcement surrounded the ranch. When the shootout was over, 2 FBI agents and 1 Native American lay dead. It would be determined later that the agents were injured in the shootout, but then were shot at close range. The Native American, Joseph Stuntz, was shot in the head by a sniper bullet. His death has never been investigated, nor has anyone ever been charged in connection with the crime. Yeah. According to FBI documents, more than 40 Native Americans participated in the gun fight, but only AIM members Bob Rideau, Daryl Butler, and Leonard Peltier were ever brought to trial.
No, that again reminds me of something you told us about Fred Hampton, because there was a big gunfight when the FBI and the cops broke in and shot, and the only people who went on trial were Black Panthers.
Right.
It's insane. Same thing is happening now to these Indian lads.
I believe that's called selective law enforcement.
Selective law enforcement. Exactly, yeah.
Leonard's cohorts, Rubidoux and Butler, were arrested and went on trial. A federal grand jury in Iowa acquitted them.
Now, and again, the parallel with the Black Panther story you told us, the federal grand juries seem to have a lot more sense than whoever's in charge of the courts where they are.
Yep, usually anyways, right? So they acquitted them on the grounds of self-defense, finding that their participation in the shootout was justified given the climate of fear that existed on Pine Ridge Reservation. Further, they could not be tied to the close-range shootings or
of the two FBI guys. Yeah.
Yep. So late 1975, as he boy, I messed this up. Anyways, Peltier. Yeah, but the sentence before that doesn't make sense. Anyways, Peltier and others moved throughout the West.
I should point out to the people who are watching or listening that we do write these scripts in advance, and we get the other person to check them. So Seamus wrote this. Sorry if I'm breaking the magic of the podcast here. Seamus wrote this, and I checked it, and I missed this. So whatever happened here is my fault. All right,
it's okay. So, anyways, Peltier met up with some other activists, right? Dennis Banks, Anna Marie Aquash. I knew I was going to butcher her name. And Darlene Nichols. He traveled with them for several months in an RV lent to them by Marlon Brando, of all people. Yep. Brando had become a big supporter of Native American activists. He provided Banks with $10,000 for the cause.
You remember the Oscar ceremony where he sent up the and people booed her.
Oh yeah, John Wayne had to be held back. He wanted to murder her.
That's ridiculous. All she did was she's this little girl, and she went up and she said, "Hi, Marlon Brando can't accept the award because he's very concerned about how not just the movie industry is treating Native Americans, but pretty much everybody." She was very quiet and calm and sensible and accurate, and people were booing her.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people had such a opposite of hard-on for Native Americans in the 1970s. I think we now have a much more productive attitude for them.
And Wounded Knee was happening. There was shit going on.
Yeah,
so it's not like right. So it was just like some random person that came up and said, "Oh, there's a problem." You know what I mean? There was shit that people knew about.
You want
artists
still being to protect these people. That's the function of art. One of the functions of art is to protect marginalized populations. You know, or at least give them expression.
Yeah. God damn it, I can't remember her name. She just passed away recently.
Little feather, is it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
She just passed away recently, but and whenever the Oscar slap happened, that story resurfaced.
Yeah.
And if you read it, I mean, there's so many fucking racist shit.
She had balls of steel, that girl.
Yes,
she went up, balls of steel, going up against the most powerful people in that town.
Yep.
Who she knew would not like what she had to say. Balls of steel.
Yep. She was gorgeous and well spoken.
Yes.
Yep. It's a goddamn shame. Anyways, Brando was also a beast for doing this. November 14th, 1975, while traveling through Oregon, state trooper pulled over the RV. Trooper ordered everybody out. During this, Peltier and Banks escaped. The RV, unfortunately, I guess, was full of guns and explosives, which led to the arrest of Kenny Laud, Hawk, Russ Redner, who had by now joined them, Anna Mae Aquish, and Darlene Nichols.
Well,
so all
now-
those folks went to jail.
In fairness, if that RV was full of guns and explosives, that's something we have to say as a thing. We can't just skate over that, can we? No matter how much we might like Leonard Peltier.
Yep.
Yeah.
After having spent 10 days in jail, a couple days later, Aquish went to stay. This is Anna Mae, by the way. She went to go stay at the home of Troy Lynn Yellow, Wood Williams in Denver. After having been seen in Denver, Rapid City, South Dakota, for the last time on December 11th, she disappeared in the middle of December 75. February 24th, her body was found on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. She had been murdered execution style with a gunshot wound to the head. Initially, her death was covered up and her body declared to be unidentifiable. Aquish's corpse was photographed by FBI Special Agent Price. Since then, it has been discovered that the FBI and CIA, brace yourself, disseminated rumors that she had been an informant. Also worth noting that in 75, AIM member Douglas Durham had been revealed to be an undercover FBI agent and dismissed from the organization. AIM members were fearful of infiltration.
Oh, shit, they were.
Yeah. During the trial of John Graham, who had been convicted or had been, charged with killing her, Candy Hamilton testified that Aquash told her that Agent Price had threatened her, saying he would see her dead if she didn't cooperate in the investigation of the Pine Ridge shooting of the two FBI agents. There's a ton of theories out there as to the true motive of her murder, but it's another footnote in the tale of unethical behavior committed by the FBI. And I'm sure we'll have much more to talk about that at whatever.
Yeah, but it's time for an ad.
Oh. God damn it. Okay.
We got our $10 in the bank for this. Okay. You ready?
Oh, just give it to me. Yeah.
I have to put my ad voice on, all right? And take away from the dead lack of intonation, normal voice, and go straight into, do you want to support Native Americans, but you don't actually know any, and you're too scared to go to the casino on your own? Why not buy our specialty, War Bonnet? This feather headdress is manufactured by the finest Chinese children using only the best polyvinyl materials in true Native American style and is suitable for young white women from 18 to 21. It can withstand temperatures of up to 50 degrees centigrade, so it's perfect for Coachella. Order your War Bonnet today and support Native Americans. All profits go to the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Oh, God damn it.
$10 is $10, man.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot to put Anna's picture up here. Not a great photo, unfortunately, but that's her.
All right.
All right. So
is it?
Yep.
Okay.
She was also a badass too, by the way. She wasn't just.
Well, she was driving around in an RV full of explosives and guns, so yes.
Yeah. So, anywho, Leonard Peltier was arrested in Canada, February 6, 1976, along with Frank.
Is that his arrest?
Yeah, well, it's a picture of him being arrested.
Sorry.
That's all right. Along with Frank Blackhorse, a.k.a. Frank DeLuca. As part of the extradition case, the United States presented the Canadian court with affidavits signed by Myrtle Pourbaix, who claimed she was Peltier's girlfriend. She also claimed that she had seen Leonard shoot the agents. In fact, Miss Pourbaix had never met Leonard and was not present during the shootout. Soon after, Pourbaix recanted her statements and said that the FBI threatened her and coerced her into signing the affidavits.
So far, all of their witnesses were coerced or threatened.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Good times. Despite this, Leonard was extradited to the U.S., where he was tried in 1977. The trial was held in North Dakota before U.S. District Judge Paul Benson. Benson was a conservative judge appointed to the federal bench by Richard M. Nixon. Key witnesses like Myrtle Pourbaix were not allowed to testify for Leonard at that point because she was going to testify on his side. Unlike the Ribideau Butler case in Iowa, evidence regarding the violence in Pine Ridge was strictly restricted. That's weird.
Discovery issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 teenage Native American witnesses testified against Leonard being involved in the shooting. Later, all 3 admitted that the FBI, wait for it, forced them to testify.
No shit.
Yet, despite the FBI's coercion tactics, not a single witness identified Leonard as the shooter. So, the FBI confirmed, the FBI confirmed this claim the day after the shooting that the 2 FBI agents, William and Kohler, had entered Pine Ridge Reservation in pursuit of a suspected thief in a red pickup truck. Evidence was given that Peltier was the driver of a Chevy Suburban, a large sport utility vehicle built on a pickup truck chassis with an enclosed rear section. You know what the Suburban looks like? What's that?
You're trying to sound like you're trying to sell it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a Suburban?
No, I've no. Do you have a
Yeah, I should have brought up a photo.
Sorry.
Tell you what, let me. Chevy Suburban, right? So that's a Chevy Suburban, and from that time.
Man, that's got reservation written all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Peltier's vehicle was orange with a white roof, not red.
Oh, okay.
It was an open bed pickup. Okay,
and
so
close up.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have this cab back in here, right?
Sure.
So
you think you could tell the difference?
Yeah. And again, it was red, or it was orange, not red, with no white paint. So
I guess you could kind of see maybe orange and red in a funny light or whatever, but you can't. There's no amount of light that can change the back of a pickup into not the back of a pickup.
Right?
Is that Leonard?
Yep.
Wow, he looks like he should be in a band.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's the jail, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that kind of throws a little bit another monkey wrench into their story, right?
Every bit of evidence they have is horse shit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's going to get worse. At Peltier's trial, the FBI changed their previous statement that they had been in search for a red pickup truck and instead said that they were looking for an orange and white van similar to the one Peltier drove.
That has to be at the very least suboptimal practice. If your law enforcement agencies are changing their stories based on the information coming in the middle of a trial.
Oh, what's he driving? Oh, yeah, that's what we were looking for.
We were looking for green Ford Corolla. Yeah, that's the one we were looking
for. During the trial, all the bullets and bullet fragments were found at the scene were provided as evidence and detailed by the FBI firearms expert Cortland Cunningham.
Cortland Cunningham. Cunningham is an Irish name, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Cortland is a hell of a name, isn't it?
Cortland.
Imagine his mother when he was small. Yeah. Cortland, come in for your dinner, Cortland.
Oh, his peeps just call him CC. Yeah. He was CC Ryder. Years later, a request under the Freedom of Information Act provided another examination of the FBI's ballistics report used to convict Peltier. And a partial expert evaluated the firings linked to the gun that shot the agents, included that the cartridges found from the scene of the crime did not come from the rifle tied to Peltier. Despite the impact,
where did they come from?
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't come from his gun. Despite the impact that this would have on the findings of the case, the court did not allow the defense to present Fargo jury with information about other cases in which the FBI had been rebuked for tampering evidence and witnesses. You know, I can't tell you about the FBI being the FBI.
Yeah.
So, what the hell? U.S. attorney prosecuting the case claimed that the government had provided the defense with all the FBI's documents in the case. Later, it was learned that more than 140,000 pages of documents were actually held.
140,000.
Yep. Does not sound like discovery to me.
That sounds like a discovery breach. The kind of thing that would cause an immediate retrial in any sensible judge.
Yeah. Why would you not immediately have that, overturned?
Do it properly. Discover your case properly. Do the discovery, man.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Following the discovery of the new evidence obtained through the Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, Leonard sought for a new trial. The Eighth Circuit Court ruled there is a possibility that the jury would have acquitted Leonard Peltier had the records and data improperly withheld from the defense had been available to him, in order to better exploit and reinforce the inconsistencies, casting strong doubts upon the government's case.
So I'm sure they give him a retrial then.
Nope. The court denied his request for a new trial.
All right.
Yep. During oral arguments,
when you sent me this script yesterday first, I was reading this. I was struck by the how similar it was to the Fred Hampton case, and also about how kind of obvious the squirrely bullshit the FBI was up to, and how did they think? Like, I mean, obviously they did get away with it because the guy went to jail and he's in jail now. But like, why is this allowed to happen?
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, is what it is.
Yeah.
We could say more about why at some point, maybe. I don't know. During oral arguments, the government attorney conceded that the government did not know who shot the agents. Quote, "We provided that he went down to the bodies and executed those two young men at point-blank range." At the appellate hearing, the government attorney conceded, "We had a murder. We had numerous shooters. We did not know who specifically fired what killing shots. We do not know, quote unquote, who shot the agents." Judge Henney, who authorized the decision to deny a new trial, has since voiced support for Peltier's release, saying that the FBI used improper tactics to convict Peltier. The FBI was equally responsible for the shootout, and that Peltier's release would promote healing with Native Americans. In 1979, he escaped from prison, but was captured without incident 3 days later. Peltier. A fun fact, which I'd forgotten, you reminded me. 2004, he ran for president, and also vice president.
United States of America.
Yep, also vice president in 2020. Leonard Peltier is currently incarcerated at the United States Penitentiary of Coleman in Florida. He is 78 years old. He's in bad health, and there's a lot of petitions out there trying to get him clemency and to get him
free Leonard Peltier.
Yeah,
free Leonard Peltier.
Well, what do you think there, Barry? Because there's a lot to unpack there.
I think if Fred Hampton wasn't shot dead, I would also be saying free Fred Hampton.
Okay.
Free Leonard Peltier immediately.
But you can never put
evidence against him sticks.
True, but you can never put a gun in Fred Hampton's hand.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy we know, he actually has admitted that he did play a role in the shootout.
Yes.
And he did fire
the judge in the
rounds.
case, the judge who refused to grant a retrial now says that the government's case is looking shaky.
Yep.
And I mean, if that judge says it, then maybe give him a retrial at the very least.
What's your thoughts?
Free him.
So, okay, 2 questions before I get to the other question. Somebody who follows this case, who I got in an argument with recently, says that all the evidence you need to know about him being guilty is that he escaped. That proves him to be a dishonest person. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If you're in jail, you're going to look to escape, especially if you're fucking going to jail for something you didn't do. You're innocent.
Has that man never seen Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country?
Exactly.
Redemption.
Yeah. What the hell?
If you're in jail, Jean-Luc Picard said the first responsibility of any prisoner is to escape.
Exactly.
So we trust Jean-Luc.
Yeah. So that just doesn't prove anything.
No, not at all. No.
Yeah.
There's
now, as regards to her case,
her body that was found in the reservation.
So the claim, there's a lot that they throw out there about this, and I'm not, please. Regards to her family, which is trying to get closure on this. I'm not trying to poo-poo on any of this. But the claim is that part of the reason that she was murdered was that apparently someone in the party that they were traveling with claims that Peltier admitted to murdering the 2 agents. And that she was killed because they thought she was an informer, so they couldn't have her testify against them or whatever.
I mean, I guess it's possible. But there was no evidence to tie Peltier to that.
Exactly.
The essential thing about the 2 FBI agents you told me just now is that they were shot at point-blank range.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there was no way he was anywhere that close to them. Also, the gun that he had did not match any of the fragments that they found.
Right.
So, if he did do it, he somehow managed to sneakily do it using a different gun, or by collecting all the bullet fragments, or by being in a completely different place somehow, like a teleportation guy.
Yeah.
Right. So that seems like a funny story to me.
Yeah, it just doesn't really pan out because
But then the fact of the matter is that this lady was murdered.
Oh, absolutely, and it was
And
probably.
why would she be murdered? Because that at least is a reason that is like why somebody might murder somebody.
Well, even that claim is still tied to the fact that they thought she was an FBI informant. Well,
Yes.
why did they think she was an FBI informant? Because the FBI and CIA just spread that bullshit out there.
Yes.
So kind of the blood's kind of on their hands too.
They're the source of that bullshit.
Yeah. But if it was just because Leonard said that, then why is everybody else that was on that RV? Why are they still standing? Why did none of them get murdered?
Fair.
You know what I mean? There's also a claim that she might rat them out for because the explosives were going to be used in a terrorist act and that her fingerprints were on it. Well, so is everybody else's apparently. So
Yeah.
it just, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No.
So I don't know.
But she was murdered by somebody for some reason.
Yeah, and it's a fucking shame either way.
Yes.
So, yeah, I at the end of the day, even if, let's say Leonard did all these things, they said he was, the bad guy that they try to portray, you're still like in a Stephen Avery situation, right?
Yes.
Making a murder. He did not get his day in court. He still deserves justice because that's what, if we, at the end of the day.
Yeah, police and law enforcement are going to need something else other than, I know this is the guy who did it. That's not,
Right.
That has no legal force whatsoever.
Exactly.
For very solid reasons about the kind of jurisprudence we have in democratic societies.
Yep.
Hmm.
All right. That's all I got for Leonard Peltier. So
Sure. So why now is the next part of our show. What's new? I can do this. Don't worry. I'll be fine. I'll be all right. This is the part of the show when just before taping the show, we put either the word CIA or FBI into Google, and then we hit the news tab and find some stories that are just stupid, ridiculous, or entertaining. I've done the CIA, and Seamus has done the FBI. So what are we going to do first?
your call, Ben.
Okay, I'll do CIA first.
Yep.
First headline is, and these are almost the first three links. I didn't have to look far. CIA director meets with Morocco police chief to strengthen security cooperation. So the CIA director is in Morocco, presumably making some arrangements about maybe he's talking about Western Sahara, the Sahel. French troops are active in that part of Africa right now. It's very colonial. It's very weird. We should be worried. Next one is CIA director, same guy, makes unannounced visit to Saudi Arabia.
Jesus Christ. It's like a
He's doing
tour.
a tour of he's already been to the Maghreb, and now he's going to what's the other place called? The Mashriq or something. What's the Maghreb and this part of the Arab world. Anyway, he's in Saudi Arabia as well, apparently doing secret shady shit. And if you want to look that up, please do. And the last link I have about the CIA is the headline is lie detector firm lobbies CIA DOD on automated eye scanning tech. Here's the paragraph. A Utah-based outfit overseen by a former CIA consultant has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars lobbying intelligence and defense agencies, including the CIA and DHS, to adopt its automated lie detection technology. Public lobbying disclosures reviewed by The Intercept show. The Intercept is the name of the thing I got, the site I got.
Right.
Converse Inc. boasts on its website that its technology has already been used for job screenings at American law enforcement agencies, corporate compliance, and loss prevention in Latin America. Now, the thing about this is there is no way to detect if somebody is lying.
Right.
You can guess, I guess, but really the real danger is in believing that you can tell. So if you give somebody a polygraph test and you tell somebody, oh, this is definitely a lie because they didn't pass the polygraph test, the dangerous person is the person who believes that. There's no way to tell if somebody is lying other than external verification of the fact that what they're saying is incorrect. There's no from their eye movements, from the way they move, from the way they think, from the way their hands move, nothing.
The only thing you can detect is stress. Signs of stress.
Yes, you can tell if
changes in behavior, but that does not automatically,
Yeah, you hook me up to a polygraph, and I'm going to be stressed regardless.
Right, but you have to find a baseline too whenever you do a polygraph.
You sure? Yeah, maybe I won't be stressed for the baseline, but as soon as the baseline is off, I'll be stressed by anything you ask me. Or you can ask me about things that I'm sensitive about, and I will tell you the truth. And because I'm sensitive about them, it can come up as stress. But there's no way to tell I'm lying. People get sensitive about all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you show me a big photo of a horrible spider, that's going to spike my my adrenaline response, but it doesn't mean I'm going to lie about something just because I've seen a photo of a spider, right? It tells you nothing. You can't tell by eye movements. You can't tell by facial expressions. You can't tell by the tone of voice. You can't tell by the vocabulary used if somebody's lying. You can tell, I guess, in aggregate. You could say maybe of 1,000 people, if 800 people use the word really a lot, it might mean they're being deceptive, but it tells you nothing at all about any individual. And in a court case, they deal with individual people, and you need to know if those people are lying. And the only evidence you can use is evidence from an external source that shows that what they're saying isn't true. That's why these guys are con artists, lie detector firm.
Yeah, I mean,
hundreds of thousands of dollars lobbying people. Bullshit. You were a cop. You know this, right?
Yeah. Don't hold that against me out there, by the way.
No,
I've had the
you got better
or whatever. Yeah, but as far as
I want to hear about the FBI things you found.
Well, just one more thing on the polygraph thing.
Sorry.
It's not the only thing I would just a little pushback, but nothing major.
Go on.
Again, it depends a lot upon the administrator of the test, the actual operator of the polygraph. Okay, if you have somebody that's in there just looking for it and not being objective, you're going to get subjective material, right? But if somebody is just going to ask the questions and if they detect some sort of stress and they document it, then at least that gives, because I've used it, okay?
Sure.
And I was lucky that the person doing the test was really good, and it was also a detective. So I would know, okay, these are the things that, show a little bit of stress. I could use that to follow up on whenever I talk to them. And I did that. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But, it's not something that's going to be, bang on.
Inadmissible as evidence in any court.
It is. But
for solid reasons.
But fucking defense attorneys pine for this shit too, dude. They'll ask for the polygraph. It's fucking nuts.
They are also deluded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think defense attorneys are outside the realm of being deluded.
No, it's just a sign of stress. So I'm not going to read all of this one, but the headline itself is interesting. Inside the cattiest fight in D.C. This is a Slate article. Virginia and Maryland, once friendly rivals, have been locked in a quiet battle over the FBI, and it gets a lot louder. So they're trying to move the headquarters.
It's Langley, is it?
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know if this is a secondary headquarters as opposed to a Quantico. That's what it is, as opposed to the actual training.
Yeah,
that's right. So they're trying to move it, and there's a big fight over it.
They're trying to move to Maryland.
Yeah,
the NSA is already based in Maryland.
Yeah, so there's a big fight over all of it. It's again, I just read the article. It's
sure, yeah,
it's pretty funny.
Is it funny?
It's so it is really funny.
Cool, thank you.
The FBI apologized after U.S. Special Forces detained wrong guest in a mock hotel raid. U.S. forces burst into the wrong hotel in the middle of the night, detained a sleepy guest during training exercises, leading to an embarrassing apology from the military. The unfortunate guest, a Delta Airlines pilot in his 30s, was handcuffed, questioned in the shower of a Boston hotel room for nearly an hour. The training exercise was meant to enhance soldiers' skills to operate in realistic, unfamiliar environment. The U.S. Army Specialist Operations Commander said the team entered the wrong room and detained the individual unaffiliated with the exercise.
That's a nice way of saying it. An individual unaffiliated with the exercise. Yeah. Some guy.
Our deepest apologies to the individual who was affected. Sorry about that. Oopsie poopsies.
So apparently the FBI is training soldiers to work in inhospitable environments, and the inhospitable environment was simulated with Boston. So I don't know what does that say? What they think about Boston?
That's a little concerning. I mean, I don't want to go Alex Jones, but it's not good.
No,
it's just not good. It's not something you want to. Upon arrival, officers were met by law enforcement agents. We were reviewing the serious incident of our partner, and no further details be released at this time. What the fuck? So yeah, that's what's new with the world of U.S. espionage and
that is CIA and FBI, and I guess that's our show for this week.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody.
Yeah, like, subscribe, Patreon, all that stuff. if you give us money, then we won't have to have 10-minute or $10.
We will say anything.
Ads
$10. You want to give us $10? Give us a script. We will do it.
Yeah, or just give me whiskey.
Yep.
And it's okay because that's all the money goes to, anyways. So, right, Barry? That's
yes.
where it all goes to. Okay. All right. Yep. I got to do it. All right. See you, everybody.
Bye.